We talk of agricultural industry. Rwanda is a practical example. The coffee they produce here is not the end product. They send it outside. I'm not saying that 100%, but major percent of what is produced here of coffee commodities are exported out there and re-imported back to Rwanda again. So we have to change the base of our economy from commodity to product. And you look at our industry. What do we produce? What are the things that we are producing? Textiles, industries, automobile company industries. So many economic industries are there redundant, not being productive. And you could be motivated that you want to go to Europe, you want to go to America because the economy is developed. But why is the economy developed? You will be surprised if I tell you that Africans, they made the Europes and the Americans who they are. Because we sell our cheap labor to them. They use our minds, they use our brains. We have a young Nigerian who drew a very excellent car, and it's one of the best-selling cars, and they still hold him there, while Nigeria, we need him. And he still works with his brain. Rwanda is not using his brain, but since in Germany, he's using his brain. So this is our problem. Unless we think Africa is our continent, and we have to come together to salvage it. And I personally, as another common example, why Africans are not developing. My country spent huge amounts of money, £60,000 only as the tuition fee to study in UK, which is huge amount of money, enough to sponsor young people in entrepreneurship. So why do you have to go to Europe to study? And going there to study, and 40% of a GDP and the kind of income of UK comes from education. And those comes from Africans. Africans who pay huge amount of money to go to UK to study. And when you talk, even the travels we go, for tourism, for pleasure, it's a proud for an African to say, I went to London, and you didn't know that you paid for British air ticket, and you're contributing to the economy. You are taking African money and investing it there. The visa we pay. All these are examples why we are developing others, we are not developing ourselves. And one of the ways forward, and there's one thing is that we don't patronize our products. If this suit is made in Rwanda, people will not buy it. But if you open and say made in Switzerland, everybody will go to Russia. So that's how our young entrepreneurs, especially the young ladies in fashion design, these are the challenges we are facing. And we have to be mindful of our opportunities and potentials we have. It's not late for us. The earlier we realize this, the better. We have the energy resources, we have the agriculture, we have resources, and we have the human labor. And coming back to the real question I was asked, what are we doing as the Commonwealth Youth Council, one of the largest and biggest youth organizations in the world, with more than 1.2 billion young people? We represent the Commonwealth Youth Council. And one of our mandates is to help young people to realize their potentials and be advocates for these young people. And be there as their representative, to represent their voices, support them to fulfill their potentials. And what we are doing is to help youth organizations and student organizations like yours to also help you, support you financially and any kind, to see that you empower, you educate, and make awareness among young people to be patriotic and also young entrepreneurs. I think this is our generational challenge. How do we be entrepreneurs? How do we be independent? Thank you.
Thank you for this answer. You raised a couple of points that are quite interesting, but I would just like to introduce first of all our fourth guest. Mr. Apollo is coming from the RDB, that is the Rwanda Development Board. And would you like to introduce yourself first?
I work for the Republic Board. I head the department called Human Capital Institutional Development. Entrepreneurship is not only my passion, but one of those programs that I run within the department. Good to see you all.
Thank you. You raised the point, I would like to have Mr. Sanya jump on that, about is brain drain actually stopping entrepreneurship, or is it actually helping it? Because if we have young people going abroad, going to other companies, looking what is being done there, coming back, Is that not positive? What is your take on this? Because you have this very international background, going from one country to another, still active in different countries. So I would like to hear.
Yeah, good question. I think both today you observe the reverse. Africa is benefiting from brain gain. I mean, the crisis, the economic crisis in Europe has pushed a lot of the African intellect, talent to come back. But one has to observe that they're coming back because we used to suffer from brain drain. Like a lot of us who are overseas, we got trained academically and professionally out there. So today we're coming back to bring that intellectual raw capital here. So I think even here in Rwanda, we are here providing some sort of capacity building. So I think knowledge is some component that you need to bring into our markets. So you either go get it by sending your youth overseas coming back, or you get these foreigners to come into our market, like my Nigerian colleague pointed out. So it is true that you want to put in place markets where Europeans and Americans are coming into our market to provide the knowledge to consume our product, but it is also true that our youth could benefit from continuing to go overseas, getting that knowledge. The key point is coming back. As long as it's coming back to our economies, to our intellectual circles, it is a positive.
You mentioned people coming from the outside. How is actually the business climate actually? Is it, we're hearing about this doing business report in Rwanda, but what is it on a daily basis, your reality as an entrepreneur in Rwanda? Mr.
Thank you, Sangwa. The life of an entrepreneur in Rwanda is great. There is a lot of challenges, like everywhere else in the world. The entrepreneurial life is not easy at all. Even if you are in Silicon Valley or you are in Hong Kong or Paris, it's challenging because you have to put yourself under pressure in order to succeed. That's a worldwide thing. Now, in Rwanda, World Bank doing report has nominated the country #2 easiest place to do business in Africa. This is true. We are #2 in 2014 business doing report from World Bank. It's true, it's easy. Probably easier than other African countries because of several reasons. I'll give you my personal experience and express to you some of the challenges that I'm facing on a daily basis. Access to finance, some colleagues from Ghana, I think, mentioned earlier, is a key issue. It's hectic to get easy finance at a good rate, especially when you are in a capital-intensive business. But you can look at it differently. There is challenges, but still there is other people who are able to manage and still succeed. How do they do it? So this would be my message to younger fellow Africans who intend to eventually do business in the future. Challenges, of course there is challenges. Of course, I can give you a number of challenges that I'm facing on a daily basis. The level of human resource is a little bit low. I'm sure to have young, very sharp engineers like Sangwa in town, it's not an easy thing because maybe the educational system, like some of you mentioned earlier, is not yet at that level. But I prefer to see the glass half full instead of seeing it half empty. that means there is opportunity. There is opportunity, and Carnegie Mellon, a very top level American school that you have visited, came here to bridge that specific gap. So there is a number of specific challenges that one is facing on a daily basis, but this shouldn't be a stop or a barrier for a young fellow to decide to enter into entrepreneurship. It's possible, it's doable, and the only reason that I'm not emphasizing on the challenges, though there are quite a number of them, is just I don't want to mislead you in the message. The message is extremely positive. The life of an entrepreneur is hard, but it's rewarding. And the environment, to come back to Sankwa's question, in Rwanda is excellent. We are involved in the tax regulation reforms. So we sit with the government, we sit with the Apollo's organization, Rwanda Development Board, and we interact, we compare what is happening elsewhere, and then we come up with a suggestion. It's not 100% of the suggestion that the business community give to Rwanda Development Board and Rwanda Revenue Authority or the government, which are absolutely taken, but there is a dialogue. So the environment is excellent, our voice is heard, there is a lot of interaction with the government officials, and the government is extremely emphasizing, putting on a lot of emphasis into ease our daily life. Challenges are there, but they can't stop a very motivated young African to come and do business here in Rwanda.
Thank you. I have to say that is true in terms of at least the registration of business. I was able to register my business in less than a day, actually, in a couple of hours in Rwanda. And we have the RTP here. I would like to know, because we have been congratulated a lot on what we do, but what is the next step for RTP now? What is the next, what is happening in the next 5 years? Where do you see you enhancing business climate in Rwanda?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm privileged to represent my CEO, who was actually supposed to be here, but changes came in the last minute. It was another quite important meeting that she had to attend, so I apologize. And maybe before I come to that question, I came a bit late, so I don't know what they started with, but it's so interesting to see this kind of thing coming like this. Very, very. I don't want to say it is time. Probably we should have this discussion 20 years ago. But it's not too early, it's not too late. We can start this conversation. Because I think when we talk of, even when before the topic, when we talk of self-reliance or Africa's prosperity, then we just know that it's about you, it's about me. We just even reflect back and see why did we think about this decades ago? Because our past strategies, they are not the correct ones. We are just working. And I was even wondering and saying, if entrepreneurship is not an option now, if it's not the number one option, which is number one? If you're talking of self-reliance, sustainability, driving Africa's economy, if it's not the economy that is made by Africans, within Africa, for Africans, then, and which is entrepreneurship in my view, then what is this other option that we are talking about? Of course, we have quite a number, but which one should be number one? If it's not going to be the youth, there is a common saying now, people are saying that Africa is taking center stage, and this century is for Africa. There are others who are saying that actually Africa should take lead in the economic transformation of the world. But of course, you start with your continent. So I'm thinking of which other strategy other than instilling this entrepreneurial mindset among the youth of Africa to take the leadership, to be the captains of industries for the world, to be the business leaders. Entrepreneurship is not about business per se, it's about opportunities around you and beyond you. It's about looking at opportunities and taking advantage of those opportunities. It's about looking at challenges and turn those challenges into opportunities, the crisis, and I think we are not short of that. And it's about you. It's about youth especially. Now, coming back to your question, what are we doing? What are we planning to do at the We are planning to increase the pace. We want to build and create critical mass of young entrepreneurs. We believe that one of the strategies that is going to grow the economy and grow it fast and sustainably is having a whole new young generation of entrepreneurs. Not only in Rwanda, but who are going to penetrate and take advantage of the rest of the African countries. So we have quite a number of strategies that we have put in place. It is a process because we shall talk about innovation program before we do here. We keep on revisiting our strategies and looking at what should be working much better than the other, which one should accelerate the speed. Our ultimate objective today, if you ask me about 5 strategies that we use to fast track our economy, of course I will start with FDIs. I will start with FDIs, then of course I will talk about SME and entrepreneurship. It's the same, because one leads to the other. But we believe that in the next 5 going forward years, SME sector should lead the growth of the Rwanda's economy. Because of our growth, our economic growth in Africa has been so impressive for the last 10 years. We have been attractive to the world. FDI is now coming so fast because our growth is very, very good. The business, the climate, we have a very conducive environment for business. So we receive more FDIs than actually SME should be doing. So I think, and it comes back now to self-finance, it comes back to having entrepreneurship as a key driver to the growth of the economy. Definitely, we have to have young men and women who are these, who are going to take lead, to think, innovate, create business, grow them, sustain them, create jobs, pay taxes, and live a better life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to come back a little bit on the to the regulations. You are RDB, you're working with entrepreneurs like Mr. Radenka on this kind of things. But this is an ongoing debate all over the world, in all African countries actually. And you may give us, you have a PhD in economics, and you may give us the insight of what the academic world is thinking about this right now. What is this discussion? How much should an economy be regulated?
Excellent. The academic environment is a determinant or is the leading institution to any societal change. Because every societal problem, it has to be studied within the academic institutions and solutions offered. So far, economists have been making lots of research on why the Africans have not been able to develop, despite the fact that we have a large number of young entrepreneurs in Africa. We have so many young people who are taking into different entrepreneurship in Africa. We cannot say that we don't have them, but why are they not working? So researches have been made, and it was found out that there are 2 different types of entrepreneurship. There are necessity entrepreneurs, and there are opportunity entrepreneurs. So most of African entrepreneurs are necessity entrepreneurs, because it's only when the economy is down, you don't have money, you want to go to school, you want to pay for your clothes as young people, you want to have standard of living good life. And that's why you start thinking of how can I get money? Okay, now I'll start selling bread. I'll start doing a small trade. No, this is not what brings about economic development. This is not what empowers you. But opportunity entrepreneurs are those who find problems and create business solutions. For example, let me give you a common example, and a very, very interesting one. In the UK, when I study in my office, I want to go back home. And you know, it used to be very cold in the UK, and I don't want to be standing in front of the bus stop because cold will catch me. So someone faced this similar problem, and anytime he comes down, he spends like 30 minutes waiting for the bus to come because he doesn't know the itinerary of the bus. He doesn't know what time the bus is coming. So what he did was to create a software that tells him what time the bus is coming from. And he created it. And I am using it. Anytime I'm finishing my work in the office, what I do, I check the software. When is the next bus? The software will tell me the next bus will come in the next 2 minutes. Then I'll quickly go down and get the bus. So there was a problem. And he thought, how can I use my thinking to solve this problem and get money from it? Somebody could say, okay, we are here in this hall making, okay, for example, let me just use this common example that these interpreters we have in their ears, the French-speaking people. You know, it was a problem before. But we are having it international event like this, and someone is speaking English. So it's not everyone that hears what the speaker is saying. So somebody thought about it. How can we find a device that will translate it for those people that don't hear the main speaker's language? So it was a problem before, then someone bring out a solution. So these are the things that we should be looking at. What are the problems? Then we create ideas within that field. And it happened at a moment now in our generation, second point, that recently Mandela have died. And Mandela was really celebrated, not just because of anything, but because he fought for his race, and he fought for freedom. And we are all young people celebrating him. How do we be celebrated after our life? We cannot be fighting for freedom because we are given the freedom. So I think what we could be remembered in our generation is being a good entrepreneur. If you can be a good entrepreneur, you can be remembered like Mandela is remembered now. And the second one is the CYC at our level, Commonwealth Youth Council. We are creating what we call entrepreneurship competition. We will send out invitation for young people to apply to submit their business proposals. We don't need you to tell me that you want to open a printing press or you want to do a business that has been in existence, or not necessarily you can come up with a business that is existent before, but you can create something, innovate something on it. So this is a mechanism that we'll be using to give grants to young people who have business proposals. So the CYC will be injecting money on young people who have business proposals. And going back to the opportunity, the reason why you see that the African economy is not developing is because the more we engage into necessity entrepreneurship, then the more our economy is going down. Because we are neglecting our problems. The problems that the economy needs, the market needs are neglected, and that's why the economy will keep going down, and people will be going to necessity of entrepreneurship. So we have to also consider that. I don't know if I still have time to go to some, I'll reserve some things.
We'll come back on this, but I think you raised something. You know, there's a lot of competitions about entrepreneurship now going on in Africa, and there's also we have here people in the investment industry, and I think there are common mistakes that keep coming back when people present business plans and things. Could you name for me 3 common mistakes that people, I mean, we here as young people make when we submit a proposed business plan or an idea to an investor?
Good question. In essence, most youth that get into the process of submitting a business plan are not doing fully their homework, whether it's knowing your market, by that I mean the industry, or the country exactly. I think they're sometimes lacking there. The next component of mistake that youth makes is they may not do the full research as to who they should be speaking to. So even in the investment world, you have different set of investors. So an investor is really look at it as a medication to a condition. So a new business should be speaking to an angel investor or a family member, but don't go to the bank. The bank, we keep on viewing them as enemies, but the banker has many ways to make money before taking risk on a new business and on an individual that has no asset. They are basically in the business of taking very little risk. So you need to be, it's like going to take stomach medicine when you have a headache. So I think that is a common mistake you make as an individual, especially if you're young. So I think the investment community needs to be looked at as medication for different conditions. So you need to first know your condition, do your research about your condition, then go to the right audience. The third set of mistake is probably not being resilient enough. I think if one has to define entrepreneurship, the most important trait is to be resilient. And I think depending on the different markets and the different age, some markets do not like to fail. And entrepreneurship is essentially about learning from failure. I think when you look at the Francophone world, there's a fear about failure. Well, when you look at the Anglophone world, specifically the US, failure is really seen as a step. I think if you take a single event of a child walking, when he stands, that is a success event. But a lot of people fail to see that he's only standing because he's fallen many times. And succeeding in life is just that, succeeding in business, and as an entrepreneur, it's just that. You need to fall enough time to stand right.
Let me just ask you, when you see somebody coming into a room with an idea, and he's coming with some plan, can you see, is that true that you can detect in less than 7 seconds that this guy is not the right guy for you?
Well, I think those statistics differ and could be a source of long debates. But investors, we tend, in general, to associate with the entity, the party, the individual that will carry on the idea. Because an idea is great, and any of us can have a great idea. But what sustains an idea is who's carrying the torch throughout. So that's why you sometimes have sad cases when you have an individual that has a great idea for a business, but then his idea is stolen by some other industrialist or so forth. And basically the choice of the money follows whoever makes it happen. So I think in most cases, youth is to associate with the right parties that can help them carry that torch to the next level. So having the idea is half the battle, but being able to have the resilience, the knowledge, having done your research as to how to put your business plan together, what type of individuals you surround yourself with in terms of advising you and developing your business to the next stage is as important. Because businesses are not only ideas, because the money that goes into it is not there solely for the innovation, it's there for preserving the innovation to the next level.
That's quite interesting, that preserving and that next step to the idea. But Mr. Rubajenga, you're in this business where there's a lot of investment that you need in the beginning. I mean, in the IT business, I could more or less in the beginning start with my laptop in my room and go to somebody. But for you to come up with such a business in the mining sector, you need investors right from the beginning. So how was it like when you first started?
Thank you. Again, my personal experience has been, like mentioned, hard. At the beginning, we were having an idea, we were having an opportunity, but then the funds
related to the opportunity. While in 2008 the government was intending to get out of some of the businesses. I'm talking about the parastatal companies in mining. One of them being Ridimi, was having a lot of concessions, and the government was looking for private enterprise or entrepreneurs or business people to take over. So we were at the great time, at the great phase in terms of information, but then there was something missing. The money were missing. So at the day one, you might have the income again portrayed for our young fellows from all over Africa. We were having an opportunity without the money, so we went out there to look for the money before even acquiring the concessions. So we were privileged enough to have, like Sanya was mentioning, family members who were positioned in a better place in terms of money. Switzerland based private banker who joined us, and today we have invested several billions of dollars, and we employ a few hundred of Rwandans and foreigners. So it's about opportunity, yes. It's about hard work, definitely. It's about the combination of both. And it's also about not give up. It's not because of that specific privilege that you might have, but it's about taking and combining it with opportunity, hard work, and the combination of all these parameters can lead to success.
Mr. Zanya mentioned that you need to talk to the right people, maybe not to the bank straight away if that's not the field, if you're investing in a field that is quite risky. But if I'm a young entrepreneur in Rwanda, for instance, and I want to talk to a business angel or to a venture capital, is RDB actually, what is RDB doing for that for me? Can I come to RDB and ask you who is ready to help me?
I think there's something about that question posed to Abraham. Again, between me and you, the youth, what's this challenge that you must do? Why do they work when you invest out to a bank, you go back and not getting the right answer? Of course, we have had quite often the challenges of entrepreneurs, listening, capacity, access to finance, lack of market. Those are some of the challenges we know. Yeah? Legislations that are not in favor of the businesses. These are some of the excuses that we usually have. Okay, to some extent, yes, these are challenges. But these are the challenges. We, the youth, and this is not typical, probably across Africa and beyond, and especially youth, the intellectuals, people who are exposed, people who have degrees. You don't want to start small. This is a fact. You want to be an entrepreneur, you have all the attributes, the environment is ready, but because you have a degree, you have a master's, you don't want to start small. And that's why you end up with big volumes of business plans, with huge amount of money, very risky. An investor will see nothing but a risk before him. You don't want to be realistic. A business is like a baby. It grows from one level to the other. You have to first take care of your baby before that baby grows up to take care of you. You have to take care of the business before it takes care of you. So most of us, I'm talking to you, that The major challenge, because you cannot face those challenges like access finance before you start. So we don't start. And the reason we don't start, because we have these high expectations. We want to start big, unrealistically. How much do you have on your account? We don't have most youth in Africa. I'm talking from, I'm sampling now from a bigger population. We don't have much money on our accounts. Our saving culture is very poor. We are fighting to save. So even the little we save, we don't want to start with it. We think we are going to design a business plan that is going to make us eat the given millions. And in most cases, we don't even have the capacity to manage those finances. So an investor and a banker will see nothing but the risk. I just wanted to highlight that it is important that we think of starting small. Businesses can grow at any pace you want it to grow. You have to give time, you have to be careful, you have to be smart. Networking, someone said, tell me your network, I tell you your network. Why not? Please network. Even there are people who think, I'll do it alone. You can never do it alone. You don't have everything that makes you to be an island, to do it alone. Today, information is power. We are in an information age. So the more exposed you are, the better for you. I don't know whether I'm still remembering the question, but I think I will try. I was still trying to talk about that. Yes, when you come to R&D, and that's what we are charging. We are charged. If you are kind enough and come, we shall facilitate you. I think we have a number of individuals, companies that we have in our data bank, in our network, that will always need partnerships of any kind. And for us, our duty is to take advantage of any opportunity that comes of any situation. So I can guarantee you that when you come to RDB, that's why we have very many departments. If it's in agribusiness, we shall orient you. If it's typical services, and you are specific in services, it will be attended to. If it is about how to be an entrepreneur, how to grow your business, how to market your business, if it's about health, so my answer in brief, if I have to be vague and general, is that RDB is there for the youth especially. Because someone said, I will end with this. Someone said, if you want to plant a garden, you can plant for 1 year. 1 year is enough for you to plant a garden and harvest and enjoy the harvest. If you want to plant a forest, because the forest is too big, you need 10 years to plant a garden and see it and have and say, I have a garden. But if you want to plant for generations and generations to come, you have to invest in youth. And this is what that is doing.
I would just let my colleague here, Ahmed, we're running out of time. You're coming from Nigeria. This is the next economic, what's the word for it? Powerhouse in Africa. And the country with a lot of young people. How is it like to make business there? How is the climate? How is...
Even though I'm not an entrepreneur in Nigeria, neither a government official represented entrepreneurship, but from my experience, the Nigerian government is really doing well in terms of giving access to finance to young entrepreneurs. There is this program, excellent program they call UWIN program. It's a business competition where young entrepreneurs can apply for sponsorship. And the government of Nigeria gives around 10 million naira. I don't know how much is it in dollars, but it's a huge amount of money enough to set up business. So this is what I've been doing. And Nigeria is a country of large potentials. There are lots of potential in every sector of the economy. And young people have been investing and working hard, even without the formal education of entrepreneurship. But the only problem we're having is, how do we make it a global market? We do a lot, we produce a lot within Nigeria, and we export it in the nearby countries. So nearby countries, customers come and buy our things. But how do we make it global? How do we attract more investment? And especially when you talk about the foreign investors are only interested in our natural resources, not how to develop our industry, not how to develop our young people. But I think one of the things that I should be proposing is that the Nigerian government should put maybe a recommendation or kind of for any oil and gas investor coming to Nigeria to first invest in entrepreneurship. This will help to complement the effort of government.